Hearing on fiscal oversight will now come to order. We will start as a subcommittee as we get started hearing Senator Roberts' bill, and then as we get one more member in, we will pause and take roll at that time. So Senator Roberts, we're ready when you are. You're not at all. We will now take roll. Trey, go ahead.
Senator Top.
Here.
Seeing that we have a quorum, Senator Roberts, you're welcome to proceed.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to thank the chair and members of the committee for affording me the opportunity to present Senate Bill 1263. This is a simple bill which provides a fix to an oversight in last year's Waterways and Ports Trust Fund, which was sponsored by Senate Bean and passed by the governor. That bill provided that land eligible for projects under the fund be owned or held in a long-term lease by the Missouri Port Authority. But due to an oddity of the control of the city of St. Louis, the St. Louis Port Authority does not own their leased land, but instead manages the land, which in turn is owned by the city of St. Louis. This bill simply clarifies the language to ensure that the St. Louis Port Authority is included. There's a Senate committee sub, which has been distributed, and whose language the Port Authority has agreed to, which ensures that the funds are only for the Port Authority as intended. I know there's some support here today who can speak further to the some of the intricacies, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Senator, I don't think that we have this up.
Oh, okay. I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
please. Thank you so much.
I'll text my staff right now, see if they have it.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we have any questions? And I don't have any questions on the bill. I think that it makes sense, and you had already explained this to me about, what the oversight was, and so I think it's good for clarification. You can go ahead and call up your witnesses as we wait on that sub, if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Proceed when ready.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, members of the committee. My name is Jackie Barget. I'm a registered lobbyist for the St. Louis Port Authority. I want to thank Senator Roberts for helping us out with this unintended consequence from the bill that was passed last year. It really is as simple as what Senator Roberts said, but the one thing I will say in his committee sub, the only change, what we had originally done was just added, because we don't own the land or hold it all in long-term lease, it just said, or a city not within a county. And the language just clarifies, it technically would only be a port within a city, not within a county, but this just tightens it up even more, saying that it is or on land owned by a city not within a county and managed by a port authority, so that it still would have to be requested by the port authority to pull it down, so that the city of St. Louis itself wouldn't be able to access those funds, if that makes sense. Honestly, that was a very simple, concise explanation, so if you guys have any questions,
Senator Bernstein.
Thank you, Chair. So this just happened, so you haven't had any trouble getting appropriations?
Not yet. So the bill went into law in August, so we still have had access to funds, and we won't in July. So if we fix this, because all of the funds will transfer over into the Waterways and Ports Trust Fund, and it's just their collective pot of money, or if we got a separate pot or separate appropriation, we would then also get put into this pot. And we've been talking to the folks at MoDOT about it as well, like if there was some type of regulatory thing that we could do through MoDOT, but they agree with our attorneys that the way that it's written currently completely excludes St. Louis Port Authority from accessing any funds. But right now, we're fine because the money technically isn't being transferred until this fiscal year, next fiscal year, 25.
So I know you said you lobby for the St. Louis port, but did this happen to any other ports?
No, because other ports either in some fashion, I think the Missouri Port Authority Association lobbyists, we'll get up in a second, either own or hold the majority of their land
Okay.
in long-term lease. And St. Louis is a little different than other ports too. Most other port authorities districts cover the entire city or county that they're in. St. Louis Port Authorities is only the 19 miles of riverfront. So they don't own all of it. They lease one property, which is the Municipal River Terminal, and they sublease that out then to the actual contractors that move goods. But our port authority itself doesn't actually own.
Okay,
the
thanks,
land.
Jackie. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you. Please be sure to leave
The
witness
only
room.
other thing I will say, and they might say this language was added to a bill in the House and passed unanimously over. So we haven't had any issues with it at least. But
Got
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Any other witnesses wishing to testify in favor? Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee. John Hensley, registered lobbyist for the Missouri Port Authority Association. Senator Roberts and Ms. Barget did a great job explaining this technical fix. And to Senator Bernsketter's question, and just to reiterate what Ms. Barget said, correct, the norm seems to be for the port authorities to either own or lease the property they're on. But just the unique situation in St. Louis City was identified as something requiring this fix, and it was always the intention of the ports, of the public ports, that St. Louis City, of course, would be able to access the funds, and if this allows them to do so, that's great. We're in full support of the substitute language. Just thank Senator Roberts and the St. Louis City Port for all working together to find language that works for everyone and to get this done.
Perfect. Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Anyone else wishing to testify in favor? Anyone wishing to testify against? Anyone for informational purposes only? Senator, if you could get your sub to us, and then Tuesday we are having a fiscal oversight quick hearing, and so if you'll check with the members at that time to make sure everybody's received your sub and to see if anyone has heartburn with having a vote on Tuesday, we could go ahead and move it out quickly. But if you'll check in with everybody and then get back to me.
Will do. Perfect.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this concludes our hearing on Senate Bill 1263. Oh, shoot. And concludes our hearing on fiscal oversight.